you talk about the regulating like the adrenals through touch.
Right.
So this sounds, so we talk about, bottom up sort of approaches to therapy. And often we're talking about from the brain stem up, right? Bottom up. I think
Right.
this is a lower bottom, right? This is the entire nervous system. So
Yes.
Can you just take us through, what do you think is going on when you're sort of touching these areas in terms of helping the client to regulate?
What I think is happening with the reason that we start there, and the reason is that that's the first or the final place in the HPA, when the alert system. So it's sitting there. When we touch into it, it's giving it support. It's like a boo-boo. If you touch a boo-boo, it's going to feel better. But this boo-boo hasn't been touched, more than likely. And so we're starting to work with that. We're starting to allow, through intention, for regulation to begin. And we do that, we base it on the APGAR, the original, when a baby is born in the hospital, or, they're looking at the APGAR, the appearance, the breathing, all of these parts. And we're basing the same thing on during the session, because as soon as you ask someone, what are you noticing now? What's happening for you? Are you starting to feel regulated? What's moving inside of you? What's happening? When you do that, you immediately take people out of the right brain, into the left brain, into their logical self, where they have to have an answer that's going to be safe enough for you to hear that you're not going to reject them. And so there's a whole lot of play in there. But when we're coming in, we're working kidney adrenals. We're starting there. We're doing brain stem. We're doing ankles. We're doing gut work, or whatever part we're doing it more nonverbal, where they don't have to report. It's allowing their system for us to do what would have happened if you were an infant. If you were a baby infant, kind of weird way to put it, I guess, but if you were an infant, you weren't giving as much as you were needing. And so somebody else was coming and they were giving it. So there is conversation, but the conversation is probably going to be like, oh, there we go. I am really sorry. I'm sorry nobody was there for you. That must have been really scary. I am here with you now. And letting them know that we're right there and working with them. And some people get very quiet, and some people almost look like their body is having convulsions. It'll begin to really get going. A strong moral reflex. It looks like they're in a constant startle, like an earthquake has occurred. But it's really a lot of intention coming in and working with how much can they tolerate, what can't they tolerate, moving in back, and being present and vulnerable. Because as a therapist, it's not like you leave at the end of the hour and you say, goodbye, we'll see you next week. It's more like, if you need something, you can text me or call me, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can, changing it around. We know there's been a lot of experience. Untreated developmental trauma in children turns into Axis 2 diagnosis in adults. So when I was in grad school, my professor said, you can never have more than one or two borderline clients, or you'll just be overworked all the time. And today I crack up laughing because everyone I see falls into that category. If I was going to diagnose, they would all be borderline. And it's not about, it's like seeing the preciousness and realizing, oh yeah, they didn't get this. And it doesn't take much at all for me to be able to say, call me if you need. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. At night I sleep. I don't answer the phone at night. And I don't answer my phone when I'm not here. So leave a message. I'll call you back or text me. And keeping and building the relationship, building a sense of trust with that client. One of the methods we use is 4-point regulation, which we break it down. You can break it down into 5 minutes. If you have a 40-minute session, depending on the time limit, but if you have a 15-minute session, you can usually do 10, 10, 10, and 10, which are the 4 points around the body: the north, the head, both kidneys, and the ankles. You do them all by the clock. You're not waiting for a sensation or waiting for a feeling, which sometimes we do when we're working kidney adrenals. And we're building trust in that system, where the system didn't trust at all. And we tell the client beforehand, I'm going to do this and this and this, and it's going to be 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, or 5 minutes in each spot, in order to build trust in the system, where the system begins to trust that, oh yeah, this is someone who's actually going to do what they say. They're not going to just leave me for my, to defend for myself. They're going to do what they say.
What's the significance of the ankles that you mentioned? That seems like the most peripheral part.
It is the most peripheral, and probably a little bit about what's coming in there, though. It's a great place for energy to escape, for trauma to move through. If trauma is moving through the system, the feet are the most practical place that it's going to go through, more so than the chest, because there's a lot going on up here. You have an extended leg, so you have a lot of space for things to move through. And you can hold the ankles with the intention of allowing things to move down through the feet, allowing it to open up, seeing the hips. Sometimes just realizing the hips are so locked because of whatever threat response or what was happening at birth, trying to figure out what's going on with these hips and bringing the client back into comfort is, in Native American terms, it's the north wind, the south wind, the east wind, and the west wind. It's kind of more of an energetic type of healing coming about. And seeing it more as a healing. I can't fix anyone.
Right.
But I can work in healing by allowing your system to reach an optimal level of functioning where your system can heal itself.
Well, if you want to know more about the Science of Psychotherapy, come across to our website, thescienceofpsychotherapy.com, and our podcast of the same name, and learn more about the science of you.